Is the crypto low in? Is that it? Are we about to see a markup in prices and possibly even a short squeeze? We'll discuss this and a whole lot more in today's show. We're even going to be looking to take some trades. So if you're here live with us, smash the like button, get ready. We're going to take some trades on today's show. Stay until the very end and smash the like button and let's go. Looking at the daily over here, there's been a swift recovery. Is it enough? That's the question, right? Yesterday, we outlined the possibility off of the downside move, and we said that what you'd want to see if there is going to be a bounce is you want to see a reclaim of yesterday, not the day before we broke down. You'd want to see a reclaim of that high. So we're on Saturday today. We wanted a reclaim of Thursday's candle high. We have not yet got that, but it's very, very, very close. And I still think that it's worthwhile to look at possibly taking some trades as price did come into some of the demand zones in the falling wedge pattern, which we outlined on the total 1, 2, and 3 market caps, right? So we'll review that today. We'll have a look at some of the opportunities that there are in terms of taking positions. One of the top performers, of course, again, straight out the gates is 𝗬𝗎. So we'll be having a look at that. We'll be looking at Altcoin. We'll have a look at Sonic. That's another one of the ones we want to look at for possible trade. We'll also have a look at XRP. I think there might be a trade over there. If you do want to participate and you want to follow along with those trades, where we're opening those trades is going to be over here on Pinex. So use the link in the description below, sign up over there. You get $1,000 sign up bonus. You guaranteed to get $30 to $100 immediately as soon as you put in your email address. There is no KYC requirement for that. And then if you open up the futures grid with me, they're going to give you an additional $100 on top of that. That's what we're going to be doing today. So we'll have a look at first Bitcoin, where things are most likely to go next, and then we'll start to open up some of those Pinex trades since it's brought back by popular demand, right? Everyone's been asking me, please, can we open some more trades over there? And that's what we're going to be doing. All right. So total liquidations, very, very, very low. What this tells you is that there is a big move that's going to be coming. Bollinger Bands are squeezing in tighter and tighter. And obviously want to be positioned on the right side of that trade. So there's still an opportunity for a short squeeze as long as the stock market continues to grind up. This is possibly a shakeout that we've just seen. And if Bitcoin can reclaim some of those key levels I'm going to show you on the daily time frame, that should start to initiate a short squeeze with the stock market possibly going into new highs. And that kind of leads you into the final phase of the bull market. I do want to remind you, when you consider the length of these bull runs, how long do they last? Typically 12 to 18 months following the halving date. Now, remember, the halving occurred this time in April. So it was about a year ago in April, which means we're about 13 months already in. And when do we typically top? 12 to 18 months, right? So that could leave approximately 5 or 6 months left for the bull run. And if we are going to rally into that, well, you would need to see it very, very soon, basically, right? So a big move is coming and you'd want to see it very, very soon. There is some liquidity which is stacked overhead over here. You can see just around that $107,000 mark. Most of the liquidity on the downside has been wiped out for Bitcoin. So the heat map showing a little bit more towards the upside, but still the market is going to be looking to position. No one's really taken a strong side yet in terms of directional bias, and therefore that's why you can see it's pretty light in its coloring. Now, I haven't looked at this for a very long time. This is the Bollinger Band width percentile, and what it simply does is it shows you how tight or wide are the Bollinger Bands, how far expanded or contracted are they. Remember, markets contract and expand, and we use this indicator on the bottom called the Bollinger Band width percentile. Now, when it gets extremely heated, this is looking at a very high time frame like a monthly, that tells you that the move is definitely nearing its end. It mathematically just cannot continue to expand at that rate. That was your 2017 cycle top. This was your 2021 cycle top. And what you'll notice over here is that we've failed to get anywhere close to where those prior tops have been. So when you look at the monthly scale and we'll work our way down, you can see this is still starting to move towards the upside, which means if a parabolic advancement is to take place, it will need to take place very, very, very soon. And you do still have a series of high highs and high lows, with this being major demand. So as long as price can hold that key level over there, this is going to be incredible demand, which means theoretically, Bitcoin could pull all the way back down into about $85,000, and you would still have the ability to print a higher low over there and look at continuation higher. Because last month we did have the highest candle close, right? So all in all, as per monthly charts, that looks fine. Bollinger Bands are expanding. If we look at the 2-week chart, well, we're seeing something very, very, very similar. If you do pull back again, you are going to still be looking for high lows. you do have the Bollinger Band with percentile still looking to reclaim that 10 percentile mark. And again, just a reminder, where did the prior tops take place? Well, over there, that was your 2017. Here's your 2021. Bollinger Bands reached all the way to the top, and we yet to get into that territory. So very, very, very interesting when you look at this. You want to time it right. So if we look at the total cryptocurrency market cap, we said that this was the bid zone, and we outlined yesterday and the day before, I think, that we said we have a bit of a falling wedge, which is a bullish chart pattern. So coming off of a strong move into a wedge, which theoretically we would expect would break towards the upside. Now, we don't have any closing candles outside there yet. As soon as we get any daily closing or weekly closing candles outside of that, that would be an indication that you're looking at that expansion. That's on the total cryptocurrency market cap. We're seeing it on total 2, and we're seeing it on total 3 into the bid zone. So it's time to bid, right? We have to look at some of the areas of interest where you can bid. Could this come down one more time? Could it do something like that? Absolutely, it's really, really possible, which is why we're specifically opening up the grid trades over here. Remember, use the link in the description below if you want to follow on. We're going to open it up in just a minute's time. Now, if you look at the others chart, it's showing exactly the same thing. This is going to refer to the true DJ and altcoins. It's minusing all the top 10 coins from the CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap list. But if we look at this measured against BTC, well, you could still get outperformance by BTC, right? Which is typical following the final phase of the bull run, right? The final phase, what typically happens is Bitcoin outperforms almost right to the very, very end. And then you have a short select period where altcoins go absolutely insane. And that can happen over a period of 1 to 3 months. Therefore, just because this is going down over here doesn't mean that you can't make money on the altcoins towards the upside in the USD pairs, right? So you can see this is still currently coming down. So I wouldn't sell my Bitcoin, right? Don't necessarily need to sell any of your Bitcoin for altcoins. But if you have new capital to spare, you're looking anywhere around here for a major bottom to form against the altcoins, right? Bitcoin against altcoins, and then altcoins should start to outperform. So that is total 3 against BTC. If you look at others against BTC, well, same thing. It's already grinding down. There hasn't been any real bid over there. So I think that this will most likely find a bottom on this chart over here. Total 3 versus BTC will most likely find a bottom when BTC dominance trades up into this level. This is going to be a very, very, very significant level between 66% and 69.75%. Most notably, that is your stop and reversal point. Typically, when you utilize fib retracements or fib extensions, you're looking at the 0.886 to the 0.786, right? So those are the areas of interest. We need to see the daily exchange volume 7-day moving average rise towards the upside, which I would expect would move up aggressively alongside the Bollinger Band with percentile as that does begin to expand. Now, if any of these words are going over your head and you're like, what is this guy saying? Please remember, we do a free school. There's a link in the description below. We begin in 9 days' time. You can sign up 100% for free. Use that link over there. It says Whale School. Click that over there. It will take you through to the relevant page. And I'll explain all of this in the school course, which is coming up in 9 days. And you have the evergreen videos over there, right? So everything is there for your use. All right, let's continue. Now, we outlined some of the risk factors. Some of the risk factors which would cap how far this thing can run towards the upside is going to be the RSI. So far, this is looking like a really good weekly candle. Now, it depends how the weekly candle closes, but this could be possibly a major reversal candle over there, leading to price trading higher and possibly breaking this. And I would expect if that does happen, you could be in for some really, really rapid upside price movement towards that $130,000 target that we have. Whether we go to $200,000 in this cycle, I am not willing to make that statement yet. I would take it one step at a time, and that's going to completely depend on what Bitcoin does when it approaches this $120,000 to $130,000 region. And I say those two targets between 120 and 130, because it depends on when this level gets hit, right? If it hits over here, it's 124. If it hits a little bit further down the line, it's going to be about 131. So generally speaking, somewhere within that area, the RSI is probably going to run out of momentum, and you can see it's putting in lower highs. We call that in trading a bearish divergence, right? So we would be putting in a potential triple bearish divergence. So we need to pay attention to that. The other thing that we've been looking at is the potential. Again, potential. We said there's absolutely no way that we can confirm this. We have a potential hypothesis. It is only speculation for now. There it is. That's a hypothesis. Is a Wyckoff distribution schematic which could be in play. It's too early to tell. When it comes to these accumulation or distribution schematics, you need to essentially enter into the phase D territory in order to actually confirm if the thesis or hypothesis was correct. Now, when we look at this, we said we have the upthrust after distribution, which is also known as a deviation over the top side of the trading range. And we basically just said it's as simple as this. As long as price is below the yellow line, it's a little bit more of an edge towards the bears, meaning prices can continue to trend towards the downside. And that yellow line is 106,145. As soon as it reclaims that level and gets back above, you can start to shift the bias towards this is not a Wyckoff distribution, and bulls start to take back major control. And that level of interest is 106,145. It's the same level, right? So the Wyckoff distribution schematic has a whole series of explanations of what should happen in each of the various different phases. Now, I'm not going to read it. I'll just very quickly explain to you. Price deviates or breaks above the top of the trading range, which you can see is marked by those major tops. It falls back into the trading range, which it did on a low volume. Price then comes back and it does a test on low volume. That was on lower volume than the upthrust after distribution. And then what should happen next, if the thesis or hypothesis is correct, is you'll come in for one more test, which is what it could be doing now. If it rejects on low volume, and the volume is very, very low, look at the bars below. Look at how they are dropping off significantly over there, especially on today's candle is very, very, very low, low volume over there. Then this would confirm that supply is in fact in control. It's all about supply and demand. Who's in control? Supply or demand? If supply is in control, that means that sellers are going to sell into this and ultimately they're in control. And then you'd expect price to move towards the downside. So all this means is that waiting for daily closes is vitally, vitally important, because if this daily candle fails to close above the yellow line, then take it as supply is in control, meaning bears are in control. And then at the very least, you're looking for price to possibly move down to about $97,000, which is your green line, your points of control. That's the highest volume area within this overall trading range, right? Which is the area where they deem fair value is essentially what that means. This is where the rest of the market deems relatively fair value over the last couple of months since November, right? So November, that's about 6 months of price action. They deem that area to be fair value. Anything above that green line is slightly overvalued. Anything below that green line is undervalued over that time period. All right, so if you can get above that, you can see quickly how the market will reposition. And that's where you can start to get a short squeeze towards the upside, which we've lined up with the liquidity over here, with the deltas being negative, which means most of the market, or at least the retail traders, because this is taken from Binance, are currently running short trades, right? So very, very, very significant area. Let's just quickly update this in terms of the RSI pivot level. So we're running at, I forgot to do this, 105,800, right? 105,800 is the pivot level. So bulls are attempting to reclaim that right now. You've got a beautiful bounce off of the 50 SMA and you're attempting to recapture. And that's why the close is going to be important. If you can start to recapture those 9 and 18 exponentials, then you can say that maybe the dip is in fact over. That's it, right? We're not going down anywhere below that candle low. And in fact, for most of the coins that you're looking at, it would have made sense to take any long trades with stop losses hanging slightly below. And we're going to look at some of those opportunities today, because really very few of the altcoins have actually done much. We actually cleared up the entire list. Something to keep a lot of attention on is going to be the USDT dominance. Now, I'm using the low time frames to try and line up what could potentially happen on the high time frames. And this would be the Giga Bull case, right? The Giga Bull case is on this chart over here, which is similar to what you're seeing in terms of the total 1, 2, and 3. And we'll go on the daily time frame. If you look at total 1, 2, and 3, they're telling the same story, which is this, right? Total 1 is telling you the story that you have a bullish move, right? A massive upside move into a consolidation, into a wedge. So view this as a bull flag. And if it can start to breach that, this could rapidly extend very, very, very quickly towards the upside. And then you're going to get big, beautiful moves. Now, if we go to the USDT dominance, which should be the inverse of this, because when dominance breaks towards the downside, prices tend to rally towards the upside. And if you go to that, that is what it's showing. There's a possibility that you could be leading to a big breakdown very, very, very soon on the USDT dominance. Now, you don't want to count your chickens before they hatch, as the saying goes, right? You don't want to jump ahead too quickly. You want to wait for actual confirmation, which we can find out about on this chart by looking on the lower time frame. So you can see bearish flag into a rising wedge over there, which has got a death cross between the 50 and 200 EMA, which is acting as resistance. And if you can start to just close a couple more candles towards the downside, this could lead to a breakdown in a big way. And this could drop the USDT dominance as far down as about 30%, which is almost hard to believe, right? Almost hard to believe, but that is theoretically the measured move off of that, which would mean that you'd sweep slightly below those previous lows, where we found some of our prior tops. And that's where we're looking for the deviation. I'll remind you, if we look on the key levels tools, you'll have your yearly open is situated right over here for the USDT dominance. And our thesis is that we should trade down into the yearly open and deviate that level and then get back above. And that deviation would set in the top of the market cycle and the big bull trap, where everyone gets mega excited that you're going much lower. So therefore, you don't want to be bullish when you get down towards this trend line. So you want to be looking for those opportunities now instead, if it is actually going to play out towards the downside. Now, this can all be invalidated, of course, if you start to reclaim some of these key levels. If you start to see USDT dominance trading all the way above 5, then at the end of the day, you could say that maybe there's actually a possibility that this was all a triple top and the bull run is over, right? 1, 2, and slightly higher 3, and the bull run is over. So remember, trading is a game of guessing and weighing up the probabilities. No one really knows with 100% certainty what is going to happen next. We're just planning based on the probabilities. So let's continue. We have the USDT dominance over here. It is holding this trend line. The first sign that you're going to break down this bear flag over here, and it's actually going to confirm, is going to be on the 4-hour hourly time frame. If you start to see this trading back in the trading range, something like that, gain acceptance back underneath the white line, which is 4.72, that should send it over here. And this is what I was talking about. Here is your yearly open, right? So you're looking for price to trade below the yearly open and then deviate back above. And that would be where the bull market ends. Okay, cool. So we've covered that. I think that all makes sense. But theoretically, what is this on the low time frames? Higher highs and higher lows. So until this breaks down over here, I expect that this is probably going to be a high low. And therefore, you want to fade this in any lower high over here. It's going to be your earliest entry into longs. And I'm at least going to be planning for that to scale into some of those positions. So we can have a look at some of those positions now and actually execute on these trades. All right, XRP is the first one. Okay, XRP coming into some key levels. Essentially, you want to accumulate around the range low. It's literally as simple as that. So where is that? What we have between, at least in terms of what I've marked out over here, you'd be looking to scale in or buy into XRP anywhere between about here, if you want to go with a low risk approach, around about here down to about 170. So we can mark that off and can actually execute on these trades. So I'm going to go from about 170. You want to buy into the discount zone. If you look at a trading range, you have a discount zone, which is the lower half of the trading range. Then you have your premium zone, which is the upper half of the trading range, which is where you want to sell. Okay, so I have a couple of trades here. I'm going to list them to you. I wrote them all down. XRP, SUI, Sonic, Ondo, FET, Fartcoin, Bonk, and ENA. Those are the ones that we're looking at today. So if you don't have your account open yet for Pinex, go over there, claim your sign-up bonus. You get $1,000 and you get extra money if you also click on the trading grid option, which is what I'm going to follow through with now. We already have some of these open. I would have given you Pepe, I would have given you Solana, I would have given you ETH, but we already have those trades open. Therefore, I'm not going to do them again, right? So let's go. Futures grid, we're going to create a futures grid over here. And we want to do, let's just quickly go on to futures bot. Yes, we want a futures bot. And we are looking for, what is the first one? XRP, right? XRP. Okay, so XRP, there we go. Customize, there we go. So you go over here, you click customize on your futures grid. Now, what you want to type in, it says the lowest price and the highest price. So anytime you do this, your lowest price would be the lowest level that you want to be buying this at. So I said about 170, and the high level is current price. So 170 to current price is what I'm going to be writing. 170, there you go, to current price, which is about I'm going to put at 219. The quantity of grids that you want. All right, actually, just I stand corrected over here. Your highest price, you actually need to put where you want to take profits. I forgot on their system, it works a little bit different. I'm going to do this based on the breakout level. So it will be selling all the way up. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to work out to the breakout level, which is going to be over here. Let's just work that out. 459. So got to go over here. 459. There it is. Okay. Quantity of grids. I'm going to go with about 50 grids over here, which would look like that, right? So does that make sense? So basically, it's buying from current price down to the lowest price that I want to buy. And then it's going to be selling from any point above that line up to my final take profit, which I said is $4.59. As you can see, it's all written on the screen, right? So I'm going to quickly draw on the screen. So basically, if price comes into here, it's fulfilling my buys. Buy, 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 buy. As soon as it moves into the red, sell, 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 sell. It does this on a micro level, right? So it will do like little micro buys, micro sells, micro buys, micro sells. So it's catching all of the moves in between. All right. The leverage that we want on that, let's just quickly see. I have this on 3x leverage. What is the size that we want to go in on this? Let's go with, I'll leave it on 3x leverage. Actually, let's scale this one up a bit. I'm going to go on about 5x leverage over there. And the investment size, we said we're going to do some of these much smaller, but XRP is a lower volatility coin. So I'm probably going to go a little bit higher in size on this one. I'll go like maybe like 2.5 in terms of, okay, let's go a little bit low so more people can participate. I'll go 1,000 on this one. Okay, so actual investment is taking $532 of margin. And then because on 5x leverage, it's putting in some extra margin over there. So that's it. I'm going to run this one, create, and you can just double check everything. So we got a long 50 grids over there, 5x leverage, $1,000, and let's go. That's perfect. Okay. Okay, ting ting. There we go. That's the first one. And then I had some more. 𝗬𝗎 was a big one, right? I definitely want to get 𝗬𝗎 in. I think that 𝗬𝗎 has the potential at least to run all the way up to about $7.64. So the question is, how low could this go? Is the dip over for 𝗬𝗎? Was it going to be going any lower? The worst case scenario was a move down to here. So I'm gonna set my lowest limit order in the event that we have a deeper drop over here. There is, of course, definitely a fair value gap that's been completely unfilled into this region. So I'm going to set it down to 229 on 𝗬𝗎. All right, let's go. Next one over here. So search on the bar, 𝗬𝗎 and USDT. There we go. And what do we just say? 226, 220. All right, 226 over there. Lowest price, 226. Highest price, I'm going for the target that I had previously set over here as a major take profit, and that is $7.64. Okay, $7.64. So if you have less, because remember, you can copy these, right? You can copy these from me. It will create a link only after the show. Once I'm finished, I'll create a link for this where you can simply just click copy. But that's under the presumption that you have the same size account as me. You'd be therefore taking on the same risk as me, right? If you want to go in with less money, you need to do it manually, which is why I'm doing this manually for you to show you how it works. So just make sure you go and re-watch this. I'm going to put this on 5x leverage as well. And I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go about 2,000 on this one. I want to go a little bit bigger because I think that this has the possibility of doing super well. Okay, grids. We have to go the number of grids. I'm going to go with about, let's just see if it can fit 100. Yes, I can fit 100, $2,000 over there. And this one looks good to go. Okay, create. Everything is there. As you guys can see, it's going to buy down into the green, sell into the red. and let's create that. Alrighty, everything looks good. 5x, $2,000. Went a little bit more on this. It gives you your estimated liquidation. Perfect. And you can always check in and monitor these. Okay, so we got 𝗬𝗎, we got Sonic as well. Sonic is another one that we have to look at. And this is Sonic, right? I think Sonic, if it did have to drop lower, this is, remember, I based this on the previous chart, which is Phantom. It is coming into a key trend line over here. Really, really important trend line, plus a key range low area. So I've said, you know, if you're using this, because they rebranded to Sonic, which means that we don't have that much price history, but if you were viewing it as a range, you have potential reaccumulation, manipulation below the bottom of the range, break back inside, and then expansion. So therefore, I've said for this one, I would enter into this if it dropped as low as 26. Now, remember, not all these orders will necessarily get filled. So just mentally prepare for that. USDT, there we go. Okay, we got it. And we said what price? Down to 26 cents would be the lowest price. 26 cents, 0.26. What is going to be our highest price? That's the question. You have to come up with a couple of targets over here. For that, I'm going to go onto the Phantom chart, and we can just relook this. Let's go into the weekly. Okay, I believe that at least it should revisit some of these highs if we do go into a bit of a mania phase. It probably goes above and beyond. If it does, it's fine. We'll readjust the upside targets at a later stage. So for now, I'm going to sell up to about 148. So then the highest price, you put in 148. Number of grids, I'm going to go about 50 on this one as well, which is going to look like that, right? Number of grids, 50. Investment size, I'm going to put this on 5x as well. 5x leverage, and I'm going to run this one at about 1,000. Okay, $1,000 on this one. All right, so we got 3 in. 𝗀𝗎𝗓 going to dump before it reaches that. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think he'll want a bit more out of it. I don't think so. I mean, Phantom has been around for quite a while. I know when Phantom moves, it can absolutely pump. It goes crazy. Okay, next, we want a bit of real world asset exposure. So I've said Ondo, that's literally the only one I have on the list. Remember, guys, we cleaned up the list. If you didn't watch my show yesterday, I deleted 85% of the tickers that I had over here because everything just looks like absolute junk. So I wanted to limit it to the few things that look less trashy. Not to say that they're not trashy. Some of these things are absolute garbage still. But there's still some opportunity over there. Okay, it's a little bit less trashy. So Ondo, I'd be willing to trade all the way down to about 60 cents. Let me just see in terms of a percentage. You know, that's about a 26% drop, but I'm still going to run with it. Ondo 60 cents down. So let's quickly run over here. Ondo perp, lowest price would be 60 cents. There we go. Highest price, you know, I think that this thing could run all the way back to the highs and possibly beyond, but I'm going to go a little bit more conservative. I'll trade this up to just before there, about 155. I'm going to run this to about 155 is the highest price. 155, number of grids, we'll go with 50, which looks like that on the chart, as you can see. Investment size, I'm going to go with $1,000 on this one as well. And let's go. Okay, so we got a couple more. What else? FET, a little bit of AI. Got to go with a little bit of AI over there. So that was the one that I chose out of these. I only have 𝗬, Render, Grass, FET, and Alchemist AI, which is probably like some low cap garbage anyway. So this is probably our best bet. Remember, Artificial Super Intelligence Alliance was 3 other protocols that co-joined forces. So it probably does stand the best bet. You know, could it run all the way back down here again? I think so. I would rather just stop out if it went any lower than this. This is like kind of a super key range level that I'd be viewing. You can see that's also what led to the order block that drove price up high, and you currently have just swept that. So if you come back down towards that area, this is basically the zone where I'd buy into, right? It would look something like that. There we go. So let's just mark that off. That is 47 cents is the low side on FET. So we'll find FET over here. FET, there we go. And I have a memory of a fish. What did we just say? 48 cents. Okay, lowest price is 48 cents, 0.48. High price Okay, easily back to the top of the falling wedge, probably even beyond. I mean, this is going to seem pretty extreme, but you could target the 1.618, which is, where is our 1.618? There we go. 1.618 would take this to about $5.42. Remember, we'll sell a lot of these things, you know, as price moves up anyway, but I'm going to go with the high price, 542. So we got the low price, 48 cents, high price, 542. I'm going to go with, again, 50 grids. And I'm going to run this one on, let's just quickly up this to 5x leverage. And I'm going to up this here to, let's go, AI, I'm usually as a sector, it's like the meme coins, it does pretty well. So I'll go a little bit higher on this. I'll go about 1,500. Okay. Why is this one not printing all of our little grids over here? Where's our little grids? And what is that? Let's just double check. We put everything in correctly. 48. Oh, that's why. $5.42. Okay, I think I need a bit more grids on this. I'm going to go with about 100, not 1,000. Let's just see 100. Okay, that looks a bit more appetizing to me. I think I actually need even more because it's a big range. So I'm going to go with about 200 grids. There we go. That looks a bit more appetizing. That should fill a couple more. So 1,500, everything looks good. That is fit. Okay, let's go. All right, 𝗏𝗏𝗀. Let's go to 𝗏𝗏𝗀. That is the next one to look at. And where is 𝗏𝗏𝗀 on the list over here? Okay, let's just, there it is. Okay, cool. This has been one of the top performers. We'll go into the 4-hour time frame. Actually, let's go on the daily. Okay, and then I also want to work out some potential targets over here. All right. Okay. Let's go with, we'll run this. I'm going to run this one down because there is a fair value gap that's all the way down at this candle over here. So if things got like really crazy, you know, it can run all the way down into that candle. So I'm going to reserve a possible move in a scary wick fashion down to about 61 cents, which would fill the whole position. So 𝗏𝗏𝗀, let's go. It's great to see that they have every single coin that I'm looking for over here. It's amazing. So we said what? 61 cents. 61 cents over there for 𝗏𝗏𝗀 is the low price, 0.61. I'm pretty much just going to run this back to the highs. I won't go to the wick high. I'll go to the candle. I think this will go beyond, but we'll probably just readjust. But for now, I'm going to go 2.161. 2.161 on the high candle. 2.161. There it is. Grids. I'm going to run this on about 100 grids. Let's see what that looks like. Maybe I'll go a bit less, 50. 50 looks appetizing. 3x. It's a high volatility coin. I'll keep it on 3x leverage, and I'll put it on about $1,000 for this one. All right. Okay, all looks good. Okay, we got 2 more left. 2 more left. Guys, I'll remind you, get your sign-up bonus, right? There's a link in the description below over here for Pinex. Use that particular link. Where it says sign up for the huge bonuses. Click that. That's where you can claim your $1,000 sign up bonus. You're getting the guaranteed $30 to $100. If you open the grid up, you get $100 immediately as well. Okay, but you got to leave the grid open for 7 days to get that extra $100. Alrighty, so we got a couple of trades in. We need Bonk and ENA. Those are the next two. So Bonk. Another one I just want to give mention to that looks pretty solid is Andy, right? Coming into super key support over here. I do think that this could deviate this level. I think it could do something like that. And then if the market starts to pump, that will do very, very well. But that's not the one we're looking at today. We're looking at Bonk. Bonk is pretty clean in terms of a range level. I don't even have anything marked off on the chart here, but you can see a very, very, very significant key range low. So I would be looking to buy this all the way down towards those wicks, which would be, it's got a lot of numbers over here now. We got to work hard to get these numbers right. Man, there's a lot of, why do there have to be so many zeros? 863 is the last digits. Let's just see over here. Bonk. Okay, Bonk. There it is. Okay, lowest price. Now you got to focus over here on all these zeros. What I'll do is I'll click there, and then can you not just copy this? I cannot copy that. Okay, I'm going to have to manually write this in. There is 1, 2. How many zeros is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 zeros. So 0.0000. Yes, That's 4 zeros. And we said, and let's just check, is this 4 zeros or is there more? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 zeros, 863. 5 zeros, 863. 863. Okay, we'll see on the if it looks right on the chart when it prints now with the red zones. All right. TP, I'm just going to TP at the top of the range. This one's probably 4 zeros, 3521. Okay, 4 zeros and 3521. So 0.1234. 3521. And let's see what that looks like. I'm going to put about 150 grids on this. Yeah, that looks correct. There we go. That's perfect. Okay, so just screenshot this and zoom in. There's your low price. You got 0.5 zeros in a row, 863. Then you got your high price at 0.4 zeros in a row, 3521. Pablo, you say you can't copy my grids. Yeah, you got to, it depends on how much equity you have. You got to opt for less grids. So if you have, because this account that I have is like about, there you go, 55K. So if you have, let's say, a couple of $100, maybe just pick one, whatever coin over here is your favorite coin, just pick that coin on its own, and then opt for more grids and don't make your ranges as wide as mine. You have to have more equity to have a higher range. Because this is a meme coin, I'm going to leave it on 3x leverage and I'll run again $1,000 over there. So that is bonk. Okay, last one is ENA. So let me know if that makes sense. Let me know if that makes sense. For who just asked that? Pablo Escobar. Okay, Pablo Escobar just asked that. So that's your answer. Your answer is if you can't copy the grids or you're unable to put the same amount of grids, you either need more capital, bigger account size, or you're going to have to opt for whatever looks like the best setup to you in your own eyes in terms of what I've given. Go with less money, tighter ranges. So you can't have an as wide range as me. You got to go with a bit of a tighter range. And then you ask, what about stop loss? Bro, we don't do stop loss. There's no such thing as a stop loss. It's hero or zero. No, I'm just kidding. The stop loss, the stop loss would be if it starts to gain acceptance below the low area that I've given you. Then that's a manual stop. You start to exit that, right? Okay. Remember, this is kind of one of these trades where it's like, don't play with any more than you can actually afford to lose. This is actually within my parameters. I can wipe this entire account and it's within my parameters of what I can risk, right? So you need to do your own risk calculations. If you want to learn more about that, guys, I highly, highly, highly encourage you to join Whale School, because the first section of Whale School and the first section of when I introduce you to everything in terms of the what do we call it? The workshops, the welcome events and the live workshops, all we focus on there is going to be basically risk management. We speak heavily about risk management. It's risk management, risk management, risk management. I show you exactly how to do everything to know exactly what you're going to lose before you take a trade and calculate your risk. All right, next one, ENA. Now, this one doesn't look amazing. It's just kind of like a higher beta play against ETH. Like if ETH runs, ENA tends to run. So I would be looking at scaling into this, all the way down. If you deviate to this level again, that's about 21 cents. So let's say if they have ENA on this list, actually. ENA, they do. They have everything on here. It's amazing. Everything on here. So ENA, they don't have all the price issues. So this chart just looks like it goes straight down. But we know better that that's a trading range. So I'm going 21 cents. And I would literally just trade it back to the top of the range, full TP at 130. And I'd be totally happy with that. 130 is the high of the range. 130 grids. I'm going to run it on like 50 grids over here. Okay, what is going on? Let's just quickly see over here. Let's put in 1,000. Why is it not printing everything the way? Oh, this looks like a different ENA. That's why. Okay, maybe they don't have this ENA. I see their ENA is running with many zeros. What's going on over here? Let's just try that again. I'm not going to play around with an ENA that I'm not familiar with. Oh, that's against ETH. That's why. That was very confusing. Okay, that's better. That was against ETH. So again, 21 cents on the low side. Just make sure you have ENA USDT. So 0.21, and then we said we'll trade that back to 130. Okay, 130, and then let's see, I said 50 grids. I'm going to go with a bit more, 100 grids. Let's just see. There we go. That looks a bit more appetizing. I'll put this on 5x. It's not an as high volatility coin, so I'm happy with that. $1,000 in, and let's go. Alrighty, so my fate has been sealed. We have a whole lot of new positions. There they are. Of course, I can make these available for you to copy. But again, guys, it's going to depend on how much equity you have. So I would rather encourage you to just watch this over and over again. I think it's pretty simple the way that I've explained it. The grids print on the chart for you, as also mess around with it on your own. I think that Pinex has the best grid bots in the world. I've tried a lot. I've used everything, OKX, BitGet, Bybit, what are the other ones? Everything, basically everything that's out there. I think that Pinex does it the best. So if you do want to follow along, there's a link there below. You get your sign-up bonus if you use that link. And that's it. Not much else to say. Our fate lies in the USDT dominance potentially breaking down. If it doesn't and it starts to reclaim these levels, then, we took a little bit of a risk. I'll probably lose like $10,000 out of that 50, and I'll just scale out of the position. And that's that. Cool. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate each and every single one of you guys. And I'll see you all on the next one. Cheers for now.